Have you ever stood before a force so overwhelming, so violent and chaotic that you felt completely small? Have you ever looked at a storm, whether it was raging in the sky above your roof or raging inside your own chest, and felt that you were utterly powerless to stop it? We have all been there. We have all trembled as the winds of life howled against the windows of our souls, threatening to shatter the glass and tear our house apart. We look at the thunder. We look at the diagnosis. We look at the broken relationship or the mountain of debt, and we say to ourselves, I am nothing. This storm is everything. But what if I told you that the physical laws of this universe are not the highest laws? What if I told you that there is a spiritual authority, a power given to the smallest and most humble of souls, that can command the wind to cease and the lightning to hold its fire? What if you possessed a weapon so powerful that even the angels of destruction are forced to lower their swords when they hear you use it? This is not a fairy tale. This is the documented reality of Saint Maria Faustina Kowalska. In her diary, specifically in entry 1731, she records a moment where the fury of nature collided with the power of the divine mercy. She stood against a terrible storm, not with a shelter of stone, but with a shelter of prayer. She stopped the heavens from crashing down with a whisper. Today we are going to walk through this storm with her. We are going to discover how she stopped a hurricane of destruction with just 5 words of trust, and how you can use that same power to silence the storms in your own life. But before we step into the wind and the rain, we must anchor ourselves. We must build a shelter right here, right now, for those we love. I want you to open your heart. I want you to think of the person you are most worried about today, or think of the fear that is keeping you awake at night. Now, go to the comments below and type their name, or simply type the words that unlock the ocean of grace. Jesus, I trust in you. Do not just type it. Pray it. Let this be your first act of surrender. Let this be the stake you drive into the ground to say, the storm stops here. Now, let us travel back to a night of terror and a morning of miraculous peace. It is easy for us to forget that the saints were human beings who lived in the real world. They felt the cold, they felt hunger, and they felt fear. Saint Faustina was a mystic, yes, but she was also a woman living in a convent in Poland. She knew the frailty of the human body. The event we are looking at took place in May. The spring storms in that part of the world can be sudden and vicious. Imagine the scene. The day had perhaps started normally, but as the evening approached, the sky turned that bruised shade of purple and black that signals violence. The air pressure dropped, making the ears pop and the heart race. Faustina records that a terrible storm began to rage. This wasn't just rain. This was a celestial bombardment. The wind wasn't just blowing, it was howling, a demonic shriek tearing through the trees. The lightning wasn't distant, it was striking the ground, shaking the very foundations of the convent. The wooden structures creaked and groaned under the assault. Inside the convent, the other sisters were terrified. These were women of faith, women who had dedicated their lives to God, and yet, when the physical reality of death comes close, the human instinct is panic. They huddled together. They flinched with every crack of thunder. They were waiting for the roof to be torn off, or for fire to consume the house. Faustina writes, "The storm was raging. The sisters were terrified. Can you see yourself in those sisters? How often do we huddle in the corner of our lives, waiting for the worst to happen? We watch the news. We watch our bank accounts. We watch the health of our parents or our children, and we freeze. We feel like spectators to our own destruction. We think, I hope this passes. But we do not believe we have any say in the matter." But Faustina did not stay in the corner. She did not let the fear paralyze her. She remembered who she was. She remembered who she belonged to. She writes that amidst this chaos, she looked up. She did not look at the storm. She looked through it. she began to recite the chaplet of divine mercy. Now, we must pause here. We must understand what she was actually doing. To many, the chaplet is just a repetition of words. To the uninitiated, it is just a string of beads. But to Faustina and to Jesus, the chaplet is a courtroom appeal. It is a legal transaction in the economy of heaven. When Faustina began to pray, "Eternal Father, I offer you the body and blood, soul and divinity of your dearly beloved Son," she was not just asking for a favor. She was presenting the Father with the one thing he cannot refuse, the sacrifice of his Son. She was holding up the cross against the wind. And as she prayed, something extraordinary happened. The veil between the physical world and the spiritual world was pulled back. She saw an angel. This was not a chubby cherub playing a harp on a cloud. This was a being of immense power and majesty. In other entries of her diary, specifically entry 474, she describes seeing an executor of divine wrath, an angel sent to strike the earth with lightning and destruction because of the sins of the world. On that previous occasion, she saw that the angel was armed with thunderbolts, ready to devastate a specific city. In this storm, during the storm of entry 1731, she hears the voice of the spirit of the storm as she is chanting the words, "For the sake of his sorrowful passion, have mercy on us and on the whole world." She realizes that her prayer is acting as a physical barrier. It is a shield of light that the darkness cannot penetrate. She hears the angel speak these words, "I cannot fulfill my mission." Let that sink into your soul. The angel had a mission. The storm had a trajectory. The physics of the weather system dictated that the lightning should strike, that the wind should destroy. But the angel was paralyzed. The force of nature was bound in chains. Why? The angel continues, "I cannot fulfill my mission because the light of this soul binds my hands." And then, almost instantly, the storm ceased. The wind died down. The thunder silenced. The sky cleared. The sisters, who had been trembling in fear, looked around in amazement. The danger had evaporated. Faustina stopped a violent storm not by building a wall, but by building a bridge to God's mercy. What does this mean for us? Why is this story preserved for you right now, in this moment of history? It is because Jesus wants you to understand the hierarchy of power. We live in a world that worships physical power. We worship money because it buys safety. We worship medicine because it buys health. We worship political influence because it buys control. And when those things fail, when the market crashes, when the medicine stops working, when the world goes mad, we feel helpless. But Jesus is telling you, through Saint Faustina, my mercy is the highest power in the universe. When you pray the chaplet, you are not just saying words. You are tapping into the same power that created the stars and the same power that calmed the Sea of Galilee. Remember when the apostles were in the boat, terrified of the waves? They woke Jesus up and screamed, "Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing?" And Jesus woke up, looked at the waves, and said, "Quiet, be still." And the wind ran out of breath. Faustina shows us that Jesus has delegated this authority to us. He has given us the chaplet as the tool to say, "Quiet, be still," to the storms of evil and destruction. But there is a deeper layer to this. Why did the prayer work? It wasn't magic. It wasn't an incantation. It worked because of trust. Jesus told Faustina in another vision, "The graces of my mercy are drawn by means of one vessel only," and that is trust. The more a soul trusts, the more it will receive. Faustina stood in that storm, and she did not doubt. She didn't pray, "God, please, if you're there, maybe stop this." No, she stood on the rock of her faith and proclaimed, "Eternal Father, I offer you your Son." She knew that the Father loves the Son, and because she was clothed in the Son's prayer, the Father would protect her. This brings us to the 5 words. The title of our reflection mentions stopping the storm with just 5 words. In the chaplet, The repetitive phrase that anchors the plea is, "for the sake of his sorrowful passion." Or perhaps the 5 words are simply the invocation, "Jesus, I trust in you." But let us look at the essence of what blocked the angel. It was the invocation of the sorrowful passion. Why is the passion so powerful against storms? Because the cross was the greatest storm in history. On Good Friday, the earth shook. The sun was darkened. The veil of the temple was torn. All the wrath of sin, all the violence of hell, and all the justice of God collided on Calvary. And Jesus absorbed it all. He took the lightning strike of divine justice into his own heart so that it wouldn't strike us. So, when Faustina prays for the sake of his sorrowful passion, she is reminding the Father and reminding the angels and reminding the demons. The storm has already been paid for. The price has been paid. You cannot destroy this house because the blood of the Lamb is on the doorpost. This is your lifeline. Now I want to speak directly to the storm you are facing. Maybe your storm isn't wind and rain. Maybe your storm is a child who has lost their way and is living in darkness. Maybe your storm is a marriage that is crumbling under the weight of resentment. Maybe your storm is a terrifying medical report. You feel the wind howling. You see the lightning striking closer and closer. You are huddled in the corner of your heart, terrified. Listen to the voice of the saint who stood tall. She is handing you the chaplet. She is saying, "Stand up. Do not hide. Speak the words." When you pray the Divine Mercy Chaplet for your specific situation, you are sending a signal into the spiritual realm. You are binding the hands of the angel of destruction in your life. We must also look at a second witness, a second promise that reinforces this incredible power over the physical world. In entry 1791, Jesus speaks to Faustina about the end times, about the ultimate storm that will face humanity. He says, "Write this. Before I come as the just judge, I am coming first as the King of mercy." And he gives a sign in the heavens. But look at what he says about the chaplet in entry 687. "Say unceasingly, the chaplet that I have taught you. Whoever will recite it will receive great mercy at the hour of death. Priests will recommend it to sinners as their last hope of salvation, even if there were a sinner most hardened. If he were to recite this chaplet only once, he would receive grace from my infinite mercy only once." Just as the storm stopped instantly for Faustina, the storm of sin can stop instantly for a soul. There is another story, perhaps even more chilling and powerful, where Faustina used this weapon against a physical threat. It wasn't a storm of wind, but a storm of impending death. She writes in entry 811 about a moment where she was spiritually transported to the bedside of a dying man. This man was in agony. He was not just physically dying, he was spiritually being assaulted. Faustina saw a multitude of devils waiting for his soul. They were like a pack of wolves, circling, waiting for the final breath to drag him into despair. The storm here was the storm of hell itself. Faustina writes, "I began to say the chaplet. Suddenly, the dying man opened his eyes and looked at me, and with strange peace, he died." But listen to what she saw in the spirit realm as she prayed. She says, "I saw Jesus just as he is depicted in the image. The rays which issued from his heart enveloped the sick man, and the powers of darkness fled in panic. The powers of darkness fled in panic. Just like the storm in the sky could not fulfill its mission, the demons could not fulfill their mission. The chaplet created a safety zone, a sanctuary of light that nothing evil could touch. This is the promise I want you to hold on to today. The chaplet is not a passive prayer. It is an active engagement of spiritual warfare. It is an exorcism of fear. So, how do we apply this? How do we live like Saint Faustina in the middle of our modern hurricanes? First, recognize the storm. Stop pretending you aren't afraid. Acknowledge the fear. Bring it into the light. Tell Jesus, Lord, I am terrified of this financial situation. I am terrified of this loneliness. Second, stand up. Spiritual passivity is dangerous. Do not just wait for the storm to pass. Engage it. Make a decision to pray against the fear. Third, utilize the weapon. When the anxiety hits you, perhaps it is at 3 a.m., the hour of worry, grab your beads. If you don't have beads, use your fingers. Recite the words, Eternal Father, I offer you. Focus on the offering. You are offering the invincible God to the invincible God. For the sake of his sorrowful passion, focus on the wounds of Jesus. Hide your problem inside his wounds. Fourth, expect the peace. Faustina heard the angel say, I cannot fulfill my mission. Believe that as you pray, spiritual dynamics are changing. Barriers are being erected. Angels are being deployed. The situation is being altered. We often think that because we don't see the wind stop immediately, the prayer didn't work. But sometimes, the prayer stops the storm inside us first so that we can weather the storm outside us. And sometimes, by God's mystery, the physical storm is indeed diverted. There is a profound mystery in the diary where Jesus complains to Faustina. He says in entry 1448, Oh, how much I am hurt by a soul's distrust. Such a soul professes that I am holy and just, but does not believe that I am mercy, and that I do not doubt my love, my heart, sorrows. Jesus is hurt when we act as if the storm is stronger than him. He is hurt when we treat the problems of this world as if they are gods that dictate our fate. He wants to be your savior, not just in the afterlife, but here. He wants to save you from anxiety. He wants to save you from despair. Let us return to the image of the convent. The storm has passed. The morning sun is rising. The trees are still standing. The sisters are safe. Faustina is in her cell, or perhaps in the chapel, resting in the silence of the aftermath. She realizes something that we all must realize. The storm was loud, but God was stronger. The wind was fierce, but mercy was fierce. She writes, I feel that I am the property of God. I feel that I am a little child in his arms. That is the destination. That is where this video is trying to take you. To the place where you are a little child in his arms. A child does not worry about the weather because the child knows the Father holds the house together. I want to leave you with a challenge of trust. The next time you feel the atmosphere of your life turning dark, the next time the news threatens your peace, do not pick up the phone to complain. Do not turn on the television to panic. Pick up the chaplet, stand your ground, say the words, Eternal Father, and listen. Listen closely with the ears of your spirit. You might just hear the demons of anxiety or the angels of destruction whispering the same thing they whispered to Saint Faustina. We cannot fulfill our mission here. The light of this soul binds our hands. You are that soul. You are the barrier. You are the vessel of mercy. Let us close this time together by entering that sanctuary of trust one last time. Imagine Jesus standing before you now. He is wearing the white garment. His hand is raised in blessing. From his chest, the red and pale rays are pouring out, not as a trickle, but as a flood that is stronger than any flood of water or wind. He looks at you with all your worries, with all your scars, and he says, My child, do not be afraid. I am not a God of storms. I am the God who walks on water. Give me your fear, and I will give you my peace. There is no misery that could be a match for my mercy. If you believe this, or if you want to believe this, claim it now. Let the credits of this video be a litany of trust. Write your name in the comments, or simply write, Jesus, I trust in you. You are my shelter. May the mercy of God surround you like a fortress. May the passion of Christ be your shield, and may you walk through every storm with the confidence of a saint who knows that the sun is just behind the clouds, waiting to break through. Go in peace and be an apostle of his mercy.